Back here at Andrean High School for Ben Novak's signing day. I am here with head coach of Andrean football, Chris Skinner. Coach, another one of those signing days where we're setting a guy to the next level. Coach, how does this feel to, again, put on a player like this for Ben, now the future Indiana Hoosier?
Yeah, I think it's special. We really cherish when all of our players go find a home, and that's what our focus is now, is finding a home for our seniors. But for Ben, to have this opportunity, IU, the role that they're on, number 2 in the country, playing Ohio State this weekend, and he's going to enroll early, right? Trevor Gibbs is here, which is pretty cool that he's here. But both of those guys are going to enroll early and be a part of it and see the playoff push, and that's just, how do you quantify how cool that is? You know what I mean? So, like I said, we're happy when all of our guys go off and find a home that fits them for college football. But, for Ben to do that at one of the top programs in the country right now, that's pretty special.
What is IU getting in Ben Novak?
Yeah, I think they're going to get a kid who's still got a lot of potential, right? He only started playing football in high school, right? So that's we're not even a full 4 years into this, right? He's been doing it for 3.5 years. And you're going to get a kid who's got a pretty relentless work ethic, right? You don't get into this position, again, having not played football before high school, without a pretty relentless work ethic. And then there's still so much to learn, right, on the technique side. So, credit to him for trusting his coaches while we were here. But, I think he's still got a lot of untapped potential, and I think IU sees that as well.
That's news to me. That's scary to hear that he only started playing not too long ago, and he's got a long way to go from your eyes. But again, a lot of potential, and that is scary for Big Ten defenders out there. Coach, it's been a heck of a week. You and I kind of talked leading up to the game. A week and a half, really. Of course, you as well as Ben, of course, head down to Indianapolis for the media day. Of course, Wednesday had that time slot. Well, we talked about a Thanksgiving practice, of course, you guys had to have as well. And before you know it, you guys are state champions. So, Coach, that whole week, again, I know it's something that you've said you don't take for granted as much as the times where you've been around the block and you've had these weeks where they're long weeks, but they're fun weeks, especially of what happened on Saturday, with you guys 7-0 victory over Brownstown Central. So, Coach, now to kind of settle in finally, how are we taking all of last week?
Good. I got to see a lot of parents came and are here to support Ben, and a lot of them have asked that same question. What's it like? First of all, in the immediacy of it, it's kind of a drain. It's so exhausting, right? The whole week is just go, 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 go. There's really no free time and breaks. So, and then the game itself was pretty intense, right? So, you get it done in a tight game, in a battle. A lot of Warriors were out there on Saturday on both sides, Brownstown Central and our boys, obviously. So, I think there's a bit of a decompression now, right? There's still a lot of good, positive energy. I think you could feel that in here. Obviously, everybody's happy for Ben, but I think there's still a little bit of that, kind of positive energy from this weekend. But it's special. It's really difficult to quantify exactly, how valuable it is and what it all means, because of just all of the time that you put into this, time on campus, time away from campus, in the weight room, on the practice field, just, everything we ask the kids to do, the sacrifices that we make as fathers and husbands and boyfriends, the coaches and obviously the players and their families. So when you take all that into account and you finish it the way, we did with the state championship, it's pretty special.
About the senior class, about that Ben is a part of, it was looking at kind of those 4 years and those that maybe played all 4 years of the program or whatnot, they have seen kind of highs and lows, if you will. 2022, they got to that stage and fell. And then 2023 was one of those years where it was kind of a rebuilding year and something kind of out of the ordinary, I guess you could say, for Andrean. Then things kind of trend up to 2024. You lose to Adams Central, but you avenged that loss this year. Now, obviously, we talked about what happened this year. What could you say about this senior class? And it's also, again, I talked with Ben a little bit about he's kind of had to take in that leadership role and kind of be the forefront of that senior class. But this group of guys, how special is this group?
Well, we place a lot of leadership responsibility on our seniors. We don't have specified captains, so this is probably unique to us. We have more of a leadership council. But this is really important because, I think good teams are led by coaches, but I think great teams are led by players. And so if we want to reach those heights, it's really important for our seniors to take on that leadership, for them to really guide and steer the season. It's a long season, right? It's a grind. And if the majority of that motivation is coming from coaches, I think sometimes that can be a grind on the players, So sometimes senior groups respond better than others when placed with this responsibility, right? And so it's also on us as coaches to kind of teach them how to lead, right? Honestly, this is one of the hardest things about coaching nowadays is teaching kids how to lead. They don't talk to each other as much, right? You got your phone. It's so easy to just get lost in your phone for hours on hand, right? So you can't be an effective leader if you don't communicate. And so anyway, all of this is to say that we do a lot of things on the leadership front, on the team bonding front, in hopes that it pays dividend, for things like this. And this senior group, quite honestly, last year's senior group they were phenomenal, and there weren't a lot of the current senior group, the underclassmen, that played a big role in that. And so this was honestly one of our biggest concerns as a staff is how will this new senior group try to pick up and leave off where like the Ellis Dumases and the Jimmy Finleys and where they left off. And it took a while. If I'm being honest, summer was choppy when it came to the leadership stuff, but man, to watch them where they're at now and the growth of them as a leadership group and as individuals, a lot of progress, and I'm very happy for them. I think they've learned some life lessons that are going to take them beyond the football field, and again, it's difficult to quantify, how special that is.
The unfortunate part about being a coach kind of in this case where you only have 4 years with these guys where things move quick and you've had this is a good problem to have, but you've had long seasons that result in shorter off seasons. So, Coach, I'll finish out with this, but how do you kind of balance taking the time to celebrate those seniors that have grown throughout the summer and the fall, but also you got to start to turn the page on what is supposed to be, again, looking at the team on paper, a solid core coming back as well, and another group of seniors as well that have to kind of take on those before them?
That's a really good question. I mean, it really is, because you spend so much time with this group and, the seniors that have played for 4 years, so much time and so many good memories. And yeah, and for Ben, he's graduating early, right? So he's literally out the door here in a few weeks. And not just me, one of the big requirements for my coaching staff is that it has to be about more than just football, right? It has to be about the person. It has to be about developing positive relationships. So I'm pretty confident that a lot of our seniors, we're still going to be in communication wherever they go, and, we're going to cheer them on. And I've been texting the Ballantyne boys as an example. They played Wisconsin Whitewater, who beat Charlie Copen, who played for us as well, and Dom DeTola plays for DePaul. So it's like, I was in a group there with those guys last week before their game, and, it's just special when you form those meaningful relationships. But you're right. To your point, at some point you got to turn the page, and we'll do that at some point. We're kind of in the process of collecting gear and figuring out what the next steps are, and just unwind a little bit. But at some point, we're going to have to do this whole process over again with the current juniors, who now it's their team, right? And they're now the leadership group. So we'll get there at some point. We're going to enjoy it for a little bit, though.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there, Coach. But right now, these are the state champions, the 2025 state champions, the Andrean 59ers, celebrating Ben Novak. That's all we have for you from Andrean. For Coach Chris Skinner, I'm Mike Dewan. This is the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.